the newest episode of Falling Upwards. We have a special guest episode again, but it's a guest episode with a twist because we like to mix things up, try different things out. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that later because, of course, firstly, I have to introduce my wonderful, lovely co-host. You can't see right now because this is just a podcast, but she's posing. She's in the vibe. She's feeling the mood. It's Maddie Armstrong, everyone.
Hello. My arms are not strong, but I am Armstrong. And have a little white fox necklace on, which I think is cute.
I love foxes. That is really cute.
Me too.
Can I tell you the stupid thing that happened with my microphone last time?
Yeah, what was going on? Because it did sound like you were just in a room.
Okay, so what happens for people that don't know, so that would be most people, when we record this, we use like a little software studio space so that we can record this, and when you press enter studio, you select obviously your microphone input and your video input, and I feel like you know what's coming. Like you know what's coming, Maddie.
Yeah.
So I have my mic connected, but I did not set the micro. My brain just like died. So I didn't
That's
select
why.
the actual proper microphone input. I selected. I just let chaos reign. And it did it through. It didn't even do it through because I have earphones on that have a microphone input. I didn't even select that. No, it just recorded straight out of the monitor.
Oh my word.
Like I was like a heathen, Maddie.
I'm sorry, I should have said something because I did think, why does she sound? Why does she sound?
Why do I shout?
Why do you shout? Why does she sound so?
Nice word to say, to be fair.
Sorry?
Sound is a nice word to say. Maybe we can make that a thing.
You sounded just like really shouty and like I don't know. There wasn't that nice, smooth, in your ear, in your brain sound that a microphone does. I should have pointed it out, but
anyway, kicking things off.
Moving on.
Let's head into our usual first segment. It is Mad News. Hi, Maddie. What you got for us?
So, the Eurofinals was last weekend. Right.
Oh God.
Yeah. I know nothing about sports, okay? I do not know the football, but I know that many people care about the football. Despite that, it being a very big deal and England being one of the participating players, they lost in the end, but whatever. 65,000 people came to Hyde Park to watch Stray Kids instead, and I think that's a tell-all. I think
I do feel they're different demographics though, slightly. Like there might be a bit of overlap, but they're not precisely the same demographic.
I've been reviewing the show because you and I were both there, and
of course,
in my review, I said instead of the world being divided into groups by like class or gender or anything, it should be: do you sit in a pub and watch the Eurofinals, or do you go to Hyde Park and watch Stray Kids? At the end of the day, both are drinking beer, but you are one or the other.
But they did shout out the game, which I thought was lovely. And a lot of these games have been going on during all of BSC Hyde Park, and often the artists have shouted out the game, and I think that's lovely.
It is. Connects it all together.
Yeah.
But yeah, the crowd was enormous. Like when you're in it, you're like, well, there's a lot of people, I can't see the end of it. But on the screen, it showed like, the drone shot of the whole crowd, and oh my word, it was endless. It was just, you could not see the end of it. It was huge.
I love that though. Like I've been watching Glastonbury playbacks as well. And when you see a crowd that size come out for any artist, it's both impressive for the artist, but it's also so magical knowing that many people are united by that one artist's music.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Because the world is so messy,
Yeah.
There's so much like dividing opinions and just hate and stuff, but music does bring everyone together.
It does.
It's incredibly cheesy, but it's incredibly true.
It's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
It is.
Well, I feel like that's
It is, Emily.
the perfect segue.
Du-du-du-du-du.
I feel like that's the perfect segue into our special guest because, you know, we do like to have our guests present if possible, but sometimes they can't always be present because they're busy and schedules are hard, and sometimes you just don't have the time, and that's totally fair and cool, innit? So,
Mm.
what we do have sometimes is we manage to get our special guests aside for a little bit, and we just chat to them and we ask them questions. And sometimes it's only me, and sometimes it's only Maddie, but it's okay because it means that we can bring them on. And what you'll hear is my interview with Cannons, and Maddie hasn't heard any of this, so you are hearing her
Going in
reactions.
blind.
You're hearing
Yeah.
Maddie's reactions for the very first time, and we'll pause in segments and we might go back in segments, and it's our lovely little way of having them on the show, even though they can't literally be here with us for an hour. So yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay with the temperature? You're feeling all right?
I'm always cold, so I'm used to being cold.
It was really baking yesterday, and then I came down today and it was like this, and I was like, that is typical British weather. But it's not. Can I just pause this to say, so the context for this is the lead singer of Cannons, Michelle Joy, she was wearing a magnificent sparkly jumpsuit.
Ooh.
And it was not the warmest. It wasn't like hot. It wasn't like super hot. It wasn't like terrible rain, but it wasn't warm either. And her team asked if she wanted a jacket, but because she knew that there would be some photos and videos, she was like, no, I won't do it with a jacket. But just for the context, she was very lovely about it. And she
Aw.
absolutely could have done it with a jacket because she would have looked fantastic anyway.
Mm.
The sacrifices people make.
Aw. All for the drip.
Congratulations on an amazing performance.
Thank you.
How was that for you, looking back on it now? Have you had a moment to be able to reflect on it?
Yeah, it was really fun. Felt great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Great time.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Wonderful to be here in Hyde Park because it's legendary. Yeah, it was wonderful. I think the crowd was pretty receptive. It was fun. It's a beautiful day. Now it's kind of getting weird, but it was really nice when we played.
When you were putting together your set list, crafting it, did you craft it with the British audience in mind? How did you go about that?
Yeah, how do we...
It was different. We had a short set, so I just crafted it by the songs that worked the best for us live. I kind of crafted it that way.
A little bit more energetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got some slow bangers.
I'm trying to think of what would a set for an English audience.
I was trying to think that too. Like, what would be an
And now you got me, I wish I met you before this.
When you are touring, do you ever put together set lists in mind where you're like, oh, for this city, there's a special song that I want to do?
Certain festivals, if it's like an electronic festival, I would definitely try to play like the faster tracks, stuff like that. Yeah.
Pausing there, the reason that I'm always curious about this is we've seen it made me think of, both of us have just seen NMIX in the UK, and they obviously did that, you know, some beautiful little shout outs to songs written in the UK with Oasis, which was beautiful. And, you know, every time Sabrina Carpenter goes to a new city, she tweaks like the ending of Nonsense.
Oh yeah, that's iconic. That.
So it's always so interesting seeing whether an artist chooses to go down that route or whether they decide not to.
Yeah, it feels like, okay, this is in my review as well, which
Of MX.
will be out. No, of the whole show, which will be out by the time this is out. But I do think at this point, Don't Look Back in Anger is like the UK's artist visa, travel visa requirement song.
Do you think?
Because so often...
Not Wonderwall.
Because no, I hear Don't Look Back in Anger like mostly.
Do you think?
Definitely.
Oh.
Yeah, always. I mean, it's a good song, but I do hear it an awful lot. What would you put on a set list catered to the UK or Hyde Park? I'm trying to think about that.
Mr. Brightside, without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
Oh yeah.
I
But,
don't
like not obvious stuff, you know?
Oh, because what that made me think of was, so when England got to the final, the Killers were playing in London at the time, and they actually paused the
really?
show to show live that we had just like won the semi-final and gone into the final, and as they showed it, then they played Mr. Brightside,
That is so British.
and everyone was like, I mean, it's the most for an American artist, I swear they are the most British American artist ever, because like when you tell people that the Killers are people that don't know, just casuals, that oh, do you know the Killers are American? They're like, no, you're lying, you can't be.
That's so weird though, because it's like the national anthem here.
Well, that's the reason why I asked.
Yeah, they're
That's
American.
the reason why I asked Cannons if they crafted their set list, because the reception for them on the day was amazing. The crowd went absolutely wild, which obviously I expected for an artist of their stature. But given how strong the reception was, I was like, oh, I wonder whether they've really picked songs that they know like chart well in the UK on purpose. Like, you know, some artists just do that. Okay, well, on we go. Have you had any encounters with any British fans so far? Any that stick in the memory, or not yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Even last time we were here.
Yeah, last time we were here, we were kind of like in and out of the venue without being able to meet too many, but hopefully soon.
With your music reaching a global audience and you have fans absolutely everywhere, which must feel amazing, how does that impact your creative process? Is that something that you bear in mind with every new piece of art that you create?
That's a good question. I think everything that we create, we know that now that we know it has such a reach, we just feel even more encouraged to create something from this like very genuine place of music that we like to listen to, because now we know that people all over the world also like to listen to what we like to listen to and create. And so yeah, I don't know. I think we're just always making music that we want to hear.
When you look back on, like, you've been doing this for almost a decade now, which does that feel insane when you think about that, or does that almost feel right?
I'm trying to think about it.
Well, we haven't been doing the live aspect for a decade. Live's kind of still new to us.
At this level, yeah.
When you look back on like Up All Night and where you started, do you ever think, oh my god, that was so cringy, the stuff that we were making then, or do you actually?
No, I love it.
Really? So,
I actually love our old stuff too.
Yeah, I did listen to a bunch. Yeah, I listened to a bunch of our older music in the car the other day because I hadn't heard it in a while. Because I'm always listening. I'm always trying to listen to like new music and stuff. Right. But I was like, I have a long drive, and I went through a whole bunch of our songs, our older songs, and I was really impressed. I was like, I like these songs. They're still like.
We've always been
sound.
really picky with the stuff that we release. Like we have probably close to 100 songs we never released.
Wow.
You know, just because we don't like them, or just
every
like
song
or just
that's
never.
out.
Can we pause? I love that though. You know, still loving your old stuff.
Yeah.
Never forgetting about it.
Yeah.
Being proud of like how far you've come.
Yeah.
But also not saying, oh, this is trash. I did this 3 months ago and now it's like not up to standard. Like I feel like people like you and I are very self-critical, and like especially with me with my like photography, the better I think I get, or the more I do, the like higher my standards get and the more critical I am, and then the more likely I am to like see an old thing and be like, this is crap. But I love that they're sort of celebrating their old stuff, and they're just very vocal about how proud they are of it. I think that's really cool, and I'm sure their fans would love that as well. Yeah.
No, something that I ruminated on a lot after hearing them talk about it was the fact that she was able to go, it wasn't just that, oh, I've listened back to it and I'm proud of it. It's the fact that she listened back to it almost like not as herself. Do you know what I mean? The way she talks about it, it's like, oh wow, actually this stuff's really good. It just happens to be us. Do you know?
Almost like forgetting that you did it,
Yeah, exactly. And
You know what I mean?
I think you're so right, where a lot of artists, like you see even with actors that hate to watch themselves on screen, where they're like, the idea of having to watch back my process, or the idea of having to look back when, as an artist, you're constantly trying to move forward is horrifying. And yet she was able to sit there and go, what we did back then was amazing. And we're different artists now. But wow, didn't we do a really good job back then? Like it's just so beautiful.
Or
For
just
every
like,
song
or just
that's
never,
out, there's a whole bunch.
There's a whole bunch that like
we were like,
just a
maybe
little
it's
demo
not.
and it didn't work out, or just or maybe sometimes the whole song, but just like it's not really working.
Unless it feels right. Yeah.
Is there like a criteria where when you listen to a song where you're like, this is the song? Do you have like certain things that you want to tick off artistically, or is it very much more of a vibe that you go
It's a
off?
vibe thing, at least for me.
I think so as well. Is a vibe? Does it make you feel something? And does it have a hook?
Yeah.
Does it have an earworm in it? Because if I'm not, there's a lot of new music that's really, really poppy and great, but if it doesn't make me feel anything, I'm like really not going to go back and listen to it too often. So I kind of want to be attached to that feeling.
That feeling, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have favorite artists right now? What are you vibing with?
I still listen to stuff I used to listen to as a kid, so nothing too new.
Yeah.
I do love the new Billie Eilish record.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I would say I'm listening to the Birds of a Feather song for Billie Eilish every day lately.
I'm with Ryan too, but the new Billie Eilish is really good. So we can all agree on that.
Yeah. What else?
New?
New.
I love this Australian group called Dope Lemon. That's it.
It's tough. It's a little bit tough. Yeah.
It is so interesting hearing, firstly, that they have over 100 songs in the vault, which is just wow in general.
Yeah.
But it's also really cool hearing what your artist's favorite artist is, like right now.
I know. You know what's horrifying? When your favorite singer has really bad music taste.
Wait, do you genuinely have like an
It's
artist
heartbreaking.
where you love them,
Mhm.
but what they like is just not what you like at all?
I have artists in mind that I shall not name,
Okay.
but it's so staggering because you don't expect them to sound exactly the same as
No.
the artists they idolize,
No.
but you do hope that it's gonna feel similar. It's gonna have the same amount of feeling and vibe and whatever. But yeah, no. Sometimes it's like an incredible performer. They've done like some of my favorite songs ever, but then their favorite songs are just the most generic pop drivel I've ever like had to listen to on the radio, and it's just it breaks my heart a little bit.
But maybe that's what they need to escape. Do you know what I mean? Because like if you as an artist are spending so much time like in your feelings in the studio, I imagine you could get quite emotionally bogged down, and then that pop drivel actually is just what you need to like lighten your soul. I feel like you're not convinced.
Like
by
a
what I'm
glass
saying.
of water amongst cocktails.
See, I love water though.
No,
I don't know what that says about me. You know I'm a big water drinker.
I do. It has to be bottled water though. I can't do tap water. I can
What about
taste.
filtered
I can
water?
taste it's wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Like, what if it's like no? What if it's like put through a Brita filter?
I'm not sure. But bottled water all the way or nothing.
So you're comparing the generic pop to tap water.
No, like bottled water.
Okay, so it's bottled water.
Although some of it is tap water. I'm not going to name anything because I don't want to be like mean.
Oh gosh.
Some of it is tap water, where it's generic and it's also unpleasant.
Well, even if it's just making people happy.
Who?
Like, okay, so like, okay, as an example, we were in the car on a very long drive the other day, and I was like, I think everyone needs a bit of energy because everyone was getting a bit sleepy, and you don't want people getting sleepy on a long
Yeah.
drive. So I put on the Crazy Frog, and it was glorious.
Yeah, but the Crazy Frog, that's not unpleasant. That's like hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like some people would say that was unpleasant, though.
Well, yeah, but
I would disagree with them because I do think it's glorious.
you
but
have to lean into like
no.
the comedy of it,
Okay.
Crazy Frog.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you what you consider to be pop drivel because I know we're both very respectful about that kind of thing.
Yes, we are.
But, okay. This is interesting, and I feel like we should just carry on.
Okay.
With the record that you've just put out now, which is a beautiful record, by the way,
Thank you.
what was your creative process to kind of manifest it? Do you start with the concept first, or do you just see how it builds? What's that process for you?
Yeah, I feel like that one just kind of naturally came together. That album was written after Fever Dream, which was mostly written during the pandemic, where we spent a lot of time at home, and Heartbreak Highway was written while we were on the road, touring heavily, like for the first time, like heavily touring. And that reflects in a lot of the songs, I think, and the energy of the album. So, yeah, everything just feels kind of natural and not like forced or too contrived, because I feel like when you try to do that, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, like, you know, putting too many expectations and constraints on something. So we kind of just let what's supposed to happen with our music. We've always done that.
Question. Based on that, what's your take on artists that create an album based on concept first versus, say, for example, what Canons have done, and there are some great artists coming up as well that have also tackled this subject with us, that have just kind of let the album happen. What's your take?
Both are fabulous. If done right, both can be fabulous. You can have a very clear plan in your mind, a very beautiful world drawn up, and you can execute it perfectly, and it becomes a great piece of work. Alternatively, you can go through something insane and very, not spontaneously, but, or instantaneously, but like, anyway, you can very quickly just write something up and somehow it becomes incredible. Like, there's been TV series where the best, and I'm thinking of a specific one, the best episode of the series, and even like one of the best episodes of the whole show, was one that was written very last minute because it had to fill in for something else that got cancelled, you know, and it ends up being the best thing. And you know, it's the same with music, it's the same with an idea. If an idea is sparked at the right time with the right brain, it can be stunning no matter how much planning was put into it. Planning can be amazing, but spontaneity can be wonderful as well.
Well, I implore, whilst we are here chatting about this, for everyone to go listen to Heartbeat Highway, because it is a very beautiful record, and it floored me slightly that they wrote it all on tour, because touring is so exhausting that the concept,
I get that though.
the idea that they're writing whilst they're touring, man, like, I would just want to sleep, wouldn't you?
I know, but the emotions that they're going through, like all the experiences, all the traveling they're doing, it must be so inspiring. I completely see how they could have, you know, found the space to write that.
How different, or how much harder is it creating an album whilst you're basically whilst you're busy with something else?
It's difficult. I mean, it's not like, oh my god, we're never gonna do this, but it's different. And it's different like when bands, I think, write their first album, you know, they've been working on those songs maybe like their whole life. They have like these riffs and ideas that they've been compiling for years and years and years, and they're able to execute that. And then as the band matures a little bit, you know, you have deadlines that you have to meet and expectations. So it's challenging, but I don't think we'd ever put out anything that we didn't have our heart and soul into.
Part of what's wonderful about watching you guys on stage is also the style that all three of you bring. I've got to ask, for each of you, what are your style inspirations? Like, do you go out knowing this is me, this is my persona? Like, how do you come about your outfits?
I think we just like to, you know, make people feel that they're
At a show.
Yeah. So like we do put effort into I feel like our music is really like glossy and shiny, so kind of try and, how do I say it,
Emphasize on that, right?
emphasize on that with how we look on stage too. Yeah,
We
give
took
people the
a-
full experience.
We took a tour of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is that what it was?
Oh yeah.
And I think that was an eye-opener because you get to see a lot of older artists and how much like work that they put into not just the music, but the look, the wardrobe, the vibe,
Earth, Wind,
and
and Fire put in so much work to their
ZZ
looks.
Top, the amount of
ZZ
work
Top,
ZZ
yeah.
Top did on their stage and their look is so amazing.
Prince.
Yeah, Prince's glove was there.
A lot of the old school
Michael
Motown stuff, like
Jackson,
all that
Tina
stuff,
Turner.
and it meant something to us because we were like, oh, this is kind of what the page we're on, instead of like rolling out of bed in like a black t-shirt. And there's nothing wrong with that; it's just not our vibe.
Yeah, it's fine. But But
We want a
there's
whole
something
show.
more. I feel like a little bit more magical about really thinking.
Which is cool because we've been seeing a lot of our fans dress up as well, which we love. They'll come in sequins and glitter.
Yeah,
And
they'll have their
kind of dressed
cannons
up like
clothes
you.
on.
Yeah.
I love that they want to translate visually their sound. They were talking about how it's glossy sounding. I just love that they put effort into the look, the persona, and the performance aspect. That's what you need from a performance, you know? Like, maybe I'm too visually oriented, but I really think that a concert cannot just be about standing on stage and singing, you know? I really think you're up on stage, you're seen for a reason, you know? Like express your songs, live them truly, feel them. And this band, they truly feel their music. They only put out stuff from the vaults, from the chamber, if they feel it, you know? And then they go and show that, they express that on stage. And that's exactly what you want from an artist. So respect.
I think they do that, like, when you watch back. It's funny because I think you feel that in their music videos and things, definitely. But when you see them live, you really do feel that energy. And I think the crowd genuinely feeds off that energy, which is, I mean,
Oh,
it's
that's
beautiful. It's what you want,
awesome.
isn't it? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. On we go. Something that we want to always touch on is the concept of kind of how artists deal with failure and struggles. What are each of your favorite failures?
My favorite failure.
Yeah.
In the musical?
In general, whatever you like.
I mean, I got fired right before the pandemic, so maybe that's interesting. I don't know. It's a tough question.
I would say my favorite failure. It's just going to be a bigger one because I moved out to Los Angeles from Florida, and I had a really rough. How many years? Maybe it was like 3 years before I met the guys, and like Los Angeles is really expensive.
Yeah.
So I thought that like I was gonna have to move back home and like or go back to school and like find a different career and stuff because I just couldn't afford it, and I totally felt like a failure in Los Angeles for a while before things started working out with Cannons.
Me. What's your favorite failure?
What's you?
I don't know. You know, I don't necessarily like the word failure. I think if you're gonna look at something like that, it's definitely a learning experience, and I think there's something you can grow from what you didn't like.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything's been a failure. It's just been like a trial and error kind of situation.
Good band, though. It's a good band.
Yeah, I do feel like out of everything, I know that out of every bad situation, you can make something good out of it. So I agree. I don't believe in it.
We finally got into the meat and bones of falling upwards, which is always about failure.
Woo!
Woo!
You made it this far.
But I did like the response of, no, I just do not accept failure as a concept.
I do like that.
And or at least I definitely don't accept it in a negative manner in any form.
I feel like we don't do that though. You and I, we're like, yeah, no, we did fail that one time. All those many times.
But I do think like a lot of people, I think we're conditioned to think negatively as a species, no? Like I think for the vast majority of people, it's easier to slip into a negative way of thinking when you're reacting to something versus a positive way of thinking.
It's all about the context. Because, for example, the exact situation that is a failure to you could be a massive success to someone else that's just not where you're at, you know?
No.
And I feel like we just are so used to being very self-critical and being like, no, I'm crap. I've done this terrible, awful thing and I'm a complete failure. When in reality, it's like, it's just an eeny meeny little thing
Yeah.
that doesn't really matter. And you can just move on. You can just jog on from. But no one wants to do that. Everyone just wants to stress about every tiny little thing.
Well, I think that was what was so interesting about Michelle's story about going to Los Angeles, feeling like things working out. It's a very expensive place. And I think that is the kind of environment that absolutely like actively breeds those negative thoughts, because if you are in a place where it's
Yeah.
already expensive to live, where people are expected to be high rollers, if not you can't live there, you're around loads of other people where they're all competing with you, or if they're not competing with you, they know someone that's competing with you. Like, for her, the idea that, she's moved all the way from Florida to literally the other side of the
The
country,
other side.
that is already, it's
Oh.
so brave, and it speaks of so much determination. But because she is in LA of all places, that was the point at which she was like, everything is just not going right. But I guarantee if it had been somewhere else, or if she'd
Mm.
been pursuing something else, people wouldn't have, I'm sure it wouldn't have gotten into her head in the same way, and definitely other people wouldn't be.
It's that mindset of the place, isn't it?
Yeah.
When she was talking about it on the audio, I was so shocked because I just know that environment is a
Mm,
stressful one, you
mm,
know?
mm,
It's like you're constantly treading water. You have to keep on treading or
mm.
you will just drown.
Yeah.
Um, but when in reality, a lot of things aren't actually like that, you know? You can
No,
take a breather.
no.
Um, we're just in this world that's so fast-paced. It's conditioned us to think like that,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not healthy, it's not good. Like, thinking that you might have to give up on your dream, that's not on.
No. But you think as well,
That's not on.
even if obviously everything worked out for her with Cannons, but even if it hadn't worked out and she had had to go back to Florida, that still wouldn't have been a failure, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, to do what she attempted to do is so difficult and so courageous, that the idea that she would have probably had to go, you know what, for my well-being, to survive and to fight another day, I've got to go back. That's not a failure.
Hmm.
That's like, wow, you really looked out for yourself. But obviously we know it all worked out. So,
It's brave to go to LA, but it would also be brave to go back, you know? To
mm,
decide
mm,
this isn't the journey I can take right now. That's also a brave thing to make such a
mm,
decision like that. I mean, it's fantastic that it has worked out, but so many people have got to end up in making decisions like that. And we just can't see it as a failure. We really can't because then we're always failing, you know?
yeah. Well, hence I think Ryan's message of, actually, no,
I don't fail at all.
nothing's a failure. It's all learning. I do not failure does not come from me. But
I make no mistakes.
you know, I have a friend that her staunchest belief in life is you are what you think, and I love that he's just willing, where it's like, nope, whatever happens, I'm finding a way where it's going up.
I love that.
And I mean, it's worked for them. No, it's worked for them.
Delusional optimism. No, we were talking about it. Blind optimism. That's the nicer
Mm,
way of calling it. 'Cause it's not
mm,
delusional. It's
no.
possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Woo!
Well, to slide into our final segment, as always, we have the exchange. Because our guest is not with us, they can't genuinely exchange a thing with us, but we can obviously talk about, this is a time for you and I to
Oh, finally.
contribute something to the exchange.
It's been so long.
Yeah. For those of you that have not listened to a 100% guest episode before, Maddie and I's contributions to the exchange are nerd culture from me, and horses from Maddie. But obviously, when we do have a 100% guest episode, they usually talk about their interests. So,
Because they're, like, way more important than us, you know? If we've got this super cool person on who wants to hear about Maddie yapping about horses, and I'm sorry, MA, but, like, you know, I would just feel a bit embarrassed if there was a cool actor on,
I mean,
you
horses
know?
are great.
They may be, but I would rather hear it from them than my own mouth is.
But what if they love
Yeah,
horses? They
yeah.
might be horse enthusiasts, do you know? You'd rather hear them talk about horses.
Mm.
Well, I know both of us have been crazy busy this week. So my proposal was that actually we could contribute something else new that we might have discovered for the exchange. And the one thing I was actually thinking of for you was actually your growing interest in opera.
Yeah, mate. As you may have gathered from these audios, these podcasts, um, I'm not the type to, like, get into opera, that sort of thing. Like, all things classy, that's not really my thing. I like fun things. I like K-pop. I like horses and games, you know?
I do think the gatekeeping around opera has not done it any favors, because I think opera is awesome.
They make it such a, like a rich person enjoyment thing, when actually us little peasants can enjoy it too. No, but it was so fun.
The level of drama in some of these stories, I think, rivals a good telenovela.
Mm,
Like, who needs gossip when you're watching an opera?
yeah,
But it's like, but like you said, because it's like there's gatekeeping around it, people think, oh, it's not for me, it's really stuffy. But it's like, no, man.
I couldn't even tell what they were saying, obviously, but I was having a good time. Like, sometimes it was scandalous, like, you could tell there was an argument going on. Um, with the different pairings with, the female opera singers and the male opera singers and, like, oh, it was just so fun. They were so expressive. I can't remember what her name was, but there was one female opera singer that was just so fun. Like, they're all stunning, but, yeah, she was just so expressive in her face, and I was like I felt like she was telling me a secret, and I'm like, "Oh, tell me more, tell me more." You know?
I remember that you genuinely turned to me and you went, "Oh my god, I
Yeah,
feel like
but
she's telling me a secret."
it feels like that, doesn't it? But yeah, like it's so fun. Tell me more, you know? Tell me more. I love it honestly, and I think if there's an opera in the city near I live, I want to go, Take me there. I want to get into this fun little thing. It's not just cuz I'm like a young person. I'm like Gen Z. I like the things I like. And
Mm.
I don't want this thing
Mm.
to be kept secret from me anymore. Introduce me to the classy fancy pants things.
So if anybody listening, if you have operas that you love, please share them in the comments, because we'll send them to Maddie to check out. What's your sign off message?
Oof. Oh, that is so hard. Because I'm thinking about so many things. This has been a juicy episode.
It has.
Have a sit down and consider who you are. Are you going to go watch the Euro finals? Or are you going to go watch Stray Kids at Hyde Park? Who are you?
Or you can do both. You can do both. You actually can. There was one of the days where there were people that had a monitor up that were watching it at the same time that they were watching the concert.
Emma is just destroying my sign off message.
No, but what you can do both. Do both.
Self-reflective prompt and yeah, you can do both. You can be divergent, you can be two thing, you can play basketball and sing. That was the message of High School Musical.
Yeah, you can. I like that. That's
Okay.
beautiful.
And you, Emma?
Mine is candles are great if you're feeling a bit stressed.
Oh, I love a Yankee Candle. Oh, I love them so much.
Just but put a candle on, let it chill you out.
Do you ever go to because we have a few garden centers near where we live, and they always have a massive thing of Yankee candles, and I will smell every single one, and it's like actual therapy. Do you ever do that? You
Yeah,
should do that.
I love it. Like there are people that Lush, the store, and there are people that are like, oh, when I walk in, it's so smelly, I can't take it. For me, it's like absolute
Can't
hit
take
of joy.
it. No.
Yeah, I genuinely, I had an actor friend I worked with once where I remember in between like shoots, we both went to a Lush and like we walked in about 2 paces and he was like, I have to leave. This is like too much for my sinuses. It's too much. And I'm there like, this is the biggest hit of joy that I've had all day.
It's lush. Let the lushness consume you.
The smell, it's all the smells, man. Yeah.
So good.
Shall we end this glorious episode with a beautiful sign-off message from Cannons?
Back to Cannons. Exactly.
Back to Cannons. You each have a little one-liner you want to sign off
No, I want to say don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, so don't be afraid to fail for you. Stay true to yourself.
Cool.
Drink the beer at Spoons, it's cheap.
Thank you all so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, with those 3 very meaningful messages, thanks for joining us on another episode of Falling Upwards.
Bye. Bye.